So first of all, it seems to be that it was Crack Boy that Kojak said the R slur about. So I accidentally merged two different podcasts together, right? So there was one that GavinDaVinci did on Everything from Nothing. He did that one first, and then he did one after that with Hot Air Balloons.
I was struck with the level of condemnation that was there before anything had been proved. But what really struck me was when things were proved later, how there wasn't the same level of publicity put around. Wrote back in the comments and saying, do you know what, we got this one wrong. We said this at the time when things were like this, and that was that.
So in the Andrew one, first of all, the video quality is terrible, which is surprising because they seem to have a dude behind the cameras making sure everything's okay.
You don't roll back the condemnation when it's proved, but when they're proved innocent. Yeah. What that does is it can contribute to an environment where somebody who comes out and speaks out and says they have been abused, they're then treated with more skepticism than they would be otherwise.
But it's like this interview was like Empire Strikes Back, right? This is where it got all dark and grim and gritty and serious. The other podcast, the first one, felt a little bit like damage control, public relations, and then this one with Hot Air Balloon, that one felt like fucking his actual feelings.
Looking out for victims. They aren't looking out for the safety of women or victims or anything like that in general. They want to be the popular kids in school. And that's cool, whatever. But I'd rather people with principles, and integrity. And as long as you have your own principles and you stick to them, love it. Love you, do you, bro, class. But outside of that, if you're not doing that and you're pretending to be one thing for popularity vote, I just didn't agree with the fact that these people didn't actually care about the safety of victims.
He said something like it didn't help victims come forward. And the kind of crusade that people had on sharing the story about Gavin, which I think is just interesting, seeing as given all the developments that happened since then in terms of him coming out and talking about this retrospectively. I think that is more damaging to people who want to speak up about their experiences than people pointing out an experience that someone had. You know what I mean? That feels like major mental gymnastics to say, well, actually, people who are calling me out for domestic abuse don't really care about domestic abuse.
And honestly, look, those guys show their true colours, whatever. I don't have any bitterness towards them or whatever like that, but I don't respect them as people whatsoever.
I didn't know he was a member of the travelling community until this morning when I started locking into the podcasts and the interviews. So in both of them, he kind of chalked up a certain amount of the hatred towards him to anti-traveller statement, anti-traveller sentiment. I'm not going to deny that almost certainly was a massive part of it. Like, as I said, I wasn't even aware that he was a member of that community. I was just aware that he was a rapper signed to Soft Boy. I didn't even know he was from Limerick until the other day when I started researching it. He raps in kind of a neutral accent, so it's hard to tell where he's from based on his music. Like, I'm just saying, in my case, it wasn't an anti-traveller thing. It isn't an anti-traveller thing.
Have your own principles and stick to them. If you're about that life, you're about that life, and I respect it. If you're not, you're not. Then shut your mouth. You know what I mean? Like, your opinion is invalid. You're so far away from anything like that's ever happened in your life. You have no standing in it whatsoever.
I was talking about, so allegedly some people were making posts about him, about the allegations and the accusations, but being kind to him in messages, direct messages. So what he has to say about them is, you're a bitch.
And whatever you do, don't just fucking turn on your friends for Twitter, because you're a bitch.
It's just that you really feel like the wheels have come off. He gave his first interview, that went well, and he felt confident enough then to go and do his second interview.
That Field podcast, they cut ties with you. They're like, we're deleting this, we're this, that, and the other, or whatever. Then, when the things were proven false, there wasn't an apology.
Made some assumptions about anyone who had an opinion on him, saying you haven't experienced it, you don't really believe what you preach. That's kind of a thing that he's coming at as well. Those are two assumptions that he's making about anyone who dared to be critical of him, which is just interesting. I feel like people calling you out are the most likely to believe in that, and people who have experienced that are the most likely to have a strong opinion on it as well.
All I know for a fact was that if everyone thought it was going to have an effect on letting more people talk, it hasn't. So it's actually shut a lot of people up. That situation actually stopped a lot of people from coming out saying their own stories because they were afraid of a certain backlash or whatever. They didn't help. They didn't help the situation. They didn't help themselves. It was sad to see, and no matter what, they're not actually about that. They're not about justice. But you're not an activist. There's no moral to your words.
Now, Andrew entitled this part of the interview. The timestamp is labelled hardest part of Gavin's life, right?
Things unfolded where like the initial message had gone out, and I don't even know. Actually, no, I do remember your response hadn't come out. But what I remember was it had happened, and then sort of you look at it and it's like, okay, healthy degree of skepticism. But then what really started to bug me was then how other people in the scene reacted to it.
I don't get a lot of problems with these guys that were saying all this stuff and stuff like that. Like, fuck them, you know what I mean? I'm not friends with any of them.
Also, it's very interesting because the title says just read the description, so I was expecting a little bit more of the description, but there's pretty much nothing in there, so I don't know what that was about. He does this on both podcasts where he brings up the fact that he has done work for women's charities as a bona fide, as like, this proves that I couldn't possibly be a domestic abuser. I don't know about that. That's just my thing, is like, how can you disprove something that happened in private? You know what I mean? And the fact that judges ruled on it as they ruled in Gavin's favour, essentially, that doesn't mean piss. That doesn't mean anything to me at all. Judges in this country are useless. There are countless examples of judges doing absolutely ridiculous rulings on many, many fucking things. They discriminate against women. They discriminate against people of colour. They do also discriminate against travellers. Like, a thing they keep bringing up is the fact that he had character references, which I think is the biggest joke in the court system, is the fact that character references sway anything. It's like, I'm going to use a letter from my mammy to give me a suspended sentence. You know what I mean? That's not evidence. That's not proof of anything.
Everybody's fighting for the same thing. Everybody just wants women, human beings, to be protected in general.
Yeah.
In all areas, people need to be able to feel like they have a voice and stuff. You know?
Yeah.
So in the Everything from Nothing podcast, he's very diplomatic, he's very political. They have terrible audio quality. It sounds like his microphone isn't plugged in and they're using the audio from the guy beside him to try and get Gavin's audio.
So the hardest thing about it was kind of feeling like, if I have to come back and say my own part, say my own story, do all that stuff, that it's actually hurting the movements that I've always been on. Like, I've always been with, you know?
He contradicts things that he said in the Andrew video. His point seems to be a lot about these people don't believe what they're preaching in. It's just for clicks. It's disingenuous. And then in the Everything from Nothing interview, he's basically saying that he respects the fact that people do this. That's just a complete contradiction from one to the other.
It's like, these things just happen. And I suppose the whole cancelling thing, there's no badness in me at all. There's no bigness and all that.
Yeah.
I looked at everybody and everything that everyone was saying quite objectively. And
both of them, he seems to want some sort of apology and retraction from anybody who dared report on the news. That's the thing. It's acting like he was dogpiled on when it was reporting on a piece of news.
I'm always trying to be active against it. The only two charity works I've ever done is Been for Nova and Women's Aid.
I don't know. It's very much like, well, the courts have decided, therefore I'm correct. The courts have made ridiculous rulings. I don't even need to get into that. You're aware. So I don't think what the courts decide on anything proves anything definitively in this fucking country.
Everything kind of happens a lot, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not about the cancelling thing, because cancelling isn't a bad thing.
No, I know,
But
it is.
like,
I agree.
in general, everybody was only trying to do the right thing. You know what I mean? Like, everybody was believing that they were doing the right thing. Because they jumped kind of fast and stuff like that. Yeah, you can talk about this and stuff. But that's good. People are meant to try and protect people. The whole objective is to protect people.
Yeah. It's like meek and timid. This whole interview was very interesting compared to the other one.
Without them, I wouldn't have found out a lot of stuff I needed to know.
100%, yeah.
Talking about this stuff is good.
Yeah.
You know, it's
He talked about having PTSD.
that just because me coming out means then it's a women lie thing.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a human being lie thing.
He does use the word lie. He does refer to what the woman said about him as a lie. He uses the word lie. He does. Even when he's being diplomatic and meek, he used the word lie.
Wasn't stuff, the whole thing happened in court, just to sort of explain, like, didn't that go through, like, or something? What happened?
Yeah. I'd realised before we even went in that it was going.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to go my way, because the truth is the truth.
As it went on, it felt like the mask was slipping, and I feel like the podcasters who were doing the interview knew to kind of swerve away and start talking about, how did you get into rapping, what were your lyrics, your original, did you do poetry, all this shit. They keep talking about critical thinking, which is very interesting. Apply some critical thinking to why would she lie? Why would someone lie? Why would a woman make up a story like that about, like, in all, like, with all due respect, a nobody. The only people who know who GavinDaVinci are chronically online Irish rap nerds, right? People, normies barely even know who Kojak is, let alone another man that was signed to his label. Like, what? She was trying to get some clout, or she was trying to ruin his reputation within an incredibly tiny community. What, do you think Gavin was going to take off and be like Kneecap? You're fucking idiot.